One of the most common things that I hear when people are thinking about relocating to the Greater Dayton area, or Ohio in general, is that I don't know if I want to live in the middle of the Midwest or in the middle of Ohio because it's nothing but cornfields, right? And listen, I get it. I grew up in Ohio, and I know that the misconception is there's nothing to do in the Greater Dayton area. But what I'm going to do in this video over the next 8 to 10 minutes is I'm going to tell you what you can do in around a 2-hour radius of Dayton, Ohio, and you would be really surprised. And I'm going to tell you what I would tell a friend over the phone, not just one of those tourism brochures. We're going to talk about things like Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Lexington, Kings Island. There are things you can do over and over again every weekend for countless weekends. Trust me, I've lived here my entire life, so I'm telling you this from a lifelong resident. My name's David Moyer. I'm with Keller Williams Advisors in Dayton, Ohio, and I thank you for watching this video. If it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe. There's a lot of information here, not only about real estate or relocating to the area, but about Dayton, Ohio in general. So let's dive into it. Oh, but before we go too far outside of the Greater Dayton area, just because I-75 and I-70 actually intersect in Dayton, Ohio, and that's on purpose, let's actually talk about what you can do in a 20 or 30-minute drive from actual downtown Dayton. Now, right off the bat, there are things right here in Dayton that people do not just on occasion or maybe once a year, they do them weekly. We're talking about things like Yellow Springs, the Air Force Museum, and even the hiking trails and the parks that we have here in the entire metro area. So let's start right off the bat with Yellow Springs that I like to talk about a lot, and it's really because I grew up in the area, so I grew up going to Yellow Springs a lot over the weekends, especially as I was able to drive myself up there on the weekends. It's a really great getaway, and you forget where you're at in Ohio. Yellow Springs, it's about 20 miles outside of Dayton, and it's like this quirky art town, right? It's definitely different from any other part of Ohio that you're going to find, especially around the Dayton area. And the residents, they really do claim it as their own. So Glen Helen Nature Preserve is there, where you can find some great waterfalls, bird preserves, things of that nature. There's also Clifton Gorge. By the way, Clifton Gorge was noted as one of the best Christmas light displays on the Great Christmas Light Show on TV several years ago. Definitely something to check out if you're here around the holidays. Also, there's Young's Dairy. Grew up doing that as well. Some of the best ice cream you're going to find around the area. Check that out. They have a lot of things there for the kids as well. Petting zoos. It's a great farm. Check that out in Yellow Springs. And it's the kind of town that once you find it, you start taking your guests there. So when your friends or your family come into town to visit you and they stay for the night, or even if they're just there for the afternoon, you want to take them to Yellow Springs so they can enjoy it just the same way you do every single week or every single weekend. So a lot of buyers in Beaver Creek and Fairborn, if you're staying there, you're only about 15 minutes away. That's what makes Yellow Springs so cool and convenient. Right after that, the Air Force Museum. This is one of Dayton's biggest treasures. And I've seen the Air Force Museum continue to grow over the years. So it is actually only about 6 miles outside of downtown Dayton. It's the largest and the oldest military aviation museum in the entire world. And that's a fact. There are over 360 aircraft. And because it's a national museum, it's completely free. You don't have to pay anything to go into the main part of the museum itself. So you can go there as often as you like. There's no membership whatsoever. So there are certain exhibits that you may have to pay extra for, such as the theater and everything like that. But to go on the weekend with the kids or with family that's coming out of town, absolutely free. So this is not just something that you do on a rainy day when you have nothing else to do. This is a world-class museum, and there are people that fly in from all parts of the country just to go to this museum. We have Air Force Ones there from the JFK era. We have space capsules there. There are historical pieces there from our nation's history that you cannot find anywhere else. So I definitely suggest that you check that out, even if you're just here for the weekend, exploring your options in Dayton. So outside of that, we've talked about this before, the Five River MetroParks in Dayton are unsurpassed when you look at other metro park areas around the Midwest. There are over 16,000 acres of parks, and we've talked about this before also, 350 miles of paved trails that you can explore. That's a lot of paved trails. You're really not going to run out of space to go. Trust me, I still haven't, and like I said, I grew up here. It's one of the largest paved trail networks in the entire country. So When I work with buyers that are coming from large metro areas, looking for something where they can take their bikes and they can explore these areas is often really important to them because those large cities do offer something like that. So the fact that Dayton has one of the most competitive paved networks in the entire country is extremely important, and I would say extremely cool. Now we're going to go out a little bit further. Let's start with an hour of Dayton, actually. So within an hour of Dayton, you have access to a major metro area, which is Cincinnati. Cincinnati is actually one of the most popular areas, and it actually has one of the most popular amusement parks in the country, Kings Island. And it's one of the geographical features that rivals anything else in the eastern United States. So Cincinnati is about 48 miles, around 55 minutes from downtown Dayton. And it's not just a day trip, actually. It's a second city that you can go and explore over and over again. You probably already know this is home of the Cincinnati Bengals, love them or hate them, and also home of the Cincinnati Reds and the Cincinnati Art Museum, and also the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center, which is an incredible place to visit if you're here for the weekend. Also, Over the Rhine has expanded over the year to rival any food scene anywhere else in the country. And a lot of my buyers who are moving here from larger coastal cities actually specifically mention being able to access Cincinnati on a Saturday morning without planning ahead. And that actually matters to a lot of my relocation clients. Now, I talked about Kings Island. Let's actually focus on it. I know a lot about Kings Island. Right out of college, actually, I worked at Kings Island when I was growing up. Kings Island is one of the treasures that we have here in terms of amusement parks. And if you're a roller coaster enthusiast, Kings Island's the place to go. Ohio is one of the roller coaster capitals of the world. Way up north in Ohio, we actually have Cedar Point as well, which has a few more roller coasters than Kings Island. These parks are actually sister parks. So if you get a membership to Kings Island, you can actually go up to Cedar Point as well and access Cedar Point. But Kings Island is about 38 miles outside of downtown Dayton, around a 45-minute drive, and it's one of the premier amusement parks in this part of the country. So a lot of families from Springboro, Centerville, Lebanon, they use this as almost a routine weekend option. I know a lot of families personally that will buy passes for themselves and their kids. They'll add on a dining pass, and after work, they'll pick up the kids, they'll go to the park for the evening, ride a couple of rides, grab some dinner, and come home after watching the fireworks, and that's just a great way to spend the evening. So Kings Island is a really fantastic thing to have, really truly right in your backyard, only about 30 minutes outside of where you live. Also, right around an hour and 15 minutes, we have Columbus. Columbus, of course, is Ohio's state capital, and it's the largest city in Ohio. It has one of the great arts districts, which is the Short North Arts District in Columbus. It is also home to, of course, Ohio State University, or as we say, the Ohio State University. And if you know anything about Ohio, if you do move here and you are anywhere in Ohio, it doesn't matter if you're a Buckeye fan. If someone yells out OH, what do you say? IO. That's right. So we also have the Columbus Museum of Art. We also have the Arena District, which is home to the Columbus Blue Jackets, if you're a huge hockey fan. And so Columbus and Dayton, they're not the same market whatsoever. But here's the cool thing. They're close enough that Dayton buyers actually who travel for work can actually commute to Columbus on a fairly regular basis and not be too concerned about that commute whatsoever. And they can go to Columbus when they're needed. And that absolutely comes up in a lot of conversations. So just beyond that, I also like to touch on the Ohio Caverns. This is something that a lot of locals actually don't even know about, so that's also why I'm including this in the video. I've been to the Ohio Caverns several times, probably several dozen times, and it's a great place to go year-round, and here's why. The caverns are the same temperature no matter what time of year you go. You can go in the middle of a snowstorm or a heat wave, it's going to be the same temperature in the caverns. They're located in West Liberty, Ohio, which is about 50 miles, about an hour outside of Dayton, and it's a lesser known cavern, but it's definitely worth a mention for you if you have family or kids, and it's a natural national landmark. So it's something you should definitely check out, and like I said, it's a great place to take kids. You can go there, you don't have to call ahead, you can schedule a tour. They're open pretty much every day of the year. Definitely check it out. Once again, that's something you can do just within an hour's drive. Now let's talk 2 hours out. And you're going, David, 2 hours out, that's a long drive. I'm talking 2 hours out if this is something you want to do on a weekend for a long day trip, or maybe a long weekend, or you're looking to leave on a Friday night, come back on a Sunday morning. The first thing I want to say is a lot of relocation buyers actually assume Dayton's 2-hour radius is just more Ohio. It's more cornfields. And that's just not true. It's not. you're actually reaching two different states. You're reaching a national park caliber destination and one of the most visited state parks pretty much in the entire country. So let's start right off with Hocking Hills State Park. Hocking Hills is about an 80-mile drive, about an hour and a half outside of Dayton. Over 4 million visitors annually go to Hocking Hills. This is home to some of the most popular caves like Old Man's Cave, Ash Cave, Cedar Falls, and it's one of the most popular and the most photographed natural areas in all of Ohio. So if you've never been to Hocking Hills, it does not look like Ohio. As a matter of fact, I still see pictures that people will post online when they spend the weekend in Hocking Hills, and my first question is, where did you go for the weekend? So you don't actually feel like you're in Ohio, you feel like you're in a different country, as a matter of fact. It looks just like a huge national park. There are recessed caves, 100-foot waterfalls, old growth forest, and Dayton buyers, you have this just as a 90-minute drive in your own backyard. That's easy access for something that makes you feel like you're in a completely different part of the country. That's pretty cool to have in your backyard. So now within about a 2-hour drive outside of Dayton, if you're heading to the west, we're looking at Indianapolis, Indiana. So Indianapolis is about 117 miles outside of downtown Dayton, about an hour, 50-minute drive right up I-70 to the west, like I said. Once again, that's a major city, obviously. That's home to the Colts and the Pacers, great stadium there, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and also the Indianapolis Museum of Art, the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, great place to visit, obviously. And for buyers that have family in the Midwest, Indianapolis is closer from Dayton than most people expect. And if you're an Indy 500 fan and you're relocating to Dayton, you can go to the Indianapolis 500, no problem whatsoever. But getting tickets may be tricky. Also, let's talk about Louisville. If you're not from the area and you've never heard of the Bourbon Trail, now is your time to get on board with the rest of the country and hear what all the hype is about. Kentucky is home to the Bourbon Trail, and Louisville is in the heart of the Bourbon Trail. And lucky for you, if you're relocating to the Dayton area, you have access to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and Louisville especially, which is only about 133 miles away. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's only 2 hours. It's home to Churchill Downs, Kentucky Derby, the Louisville Slugger Museum, Bourbon Trail access. Louisville punches its weight for weekend trips, and from the south suburbs, Springboro, Lebanon, Waynesville, you're practically already headed in that direction. It's a great, easy access weekend trip. Trust me, been there multiple times. All right, now this next one I'm probably stretching a little bit. It's actually 2 hours and 15 minutes, maybe 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it's definitely worth an honorable mention, and that is Red River Gorge, Kentucky. It's 148 miles, 2 hours and 20 minutes. But listen up, guys. Technically, like I said, it's over 2 hours, but it's worth naming because it is a world-class rock climbing, hiking, natural arches reserve. It's hugely popular all across the board with the outdoor recreation crowd. And so if you're moving here and if you're into hiking and if you're into that sort of thing and you're in that recreation crowd, and if you're into all kinds of climbing, Red River Gorge becomes a regular thing for you on a regular basis, once a month, once every other weekend. I even have clients that move here, and during the warmer months, they will go down there every single weekend to rock climb. So it's not far enough to be an event just occasionally, but it's definitely worth a long weekend or a weekend event. So definitely something to check out for just a 2 hour and 20-minute drive. Red River Gorge, Kentucky, check it out. So if you're relocating to Dayton, Ohio, Kettering, Ohio, Centerville, Beaver Creek, Fairborn, Miamisburg, West Carrollton, Vandalia, you name it, anywhere in the greater Miami Valley area, and you're wondering whether or not this is going to be a place for you because you're thinking, is there anything to do in Dayton, Ohio? And once I do those things, is there anything to do outside of Dayton, Ohio? And if you just want someone who can show you around, and not just the neighborhoods, but someone that can also show you the region, someone that can tell you, hey, what do I do on a weekend if I want to do X, Y, Z? Hey, I'm really into kayaking. Where should I go? I really love to bike. Which bike trails would you recommend? I'm really into the art scene. What can I do in Dayton? And once I do that, what other art scenes are there to explore? Then I'm the person that you should really be talking to because I can give you options for all of the above. No matter what your desired outcome is, no matter what your hobbies are, what your interests are, there's always something to do. I've lived here my entire life and I still find things to do, not only in Dayton, but in the hours outside of Dayton. Like I said, no more than 2 hours. There's always something to do. The options are limitless. Like I said, we're the crossroads of America. I-70, I-75, you can go anywhere you want in 2 hours and find something pretty incredible. So once again, my name is David Moyer. I'm with Keller Williams Advisors in Dayton, Ohio. I'm also with David Moyer Real Estate. I want to be your friend here in Dayton, Ohio, your friend in real estate. And once again, if you've never visited my channel before, first of all, thanks for checking this out. Make sure you like and subscribe because there's new content every single week. And a lot of it is real estate related. Sometimes it's just Dayton related. I like to make sure that you know this city and this region inside and out. I want you to feel like you've lived here your entire life by the time you go on to the next video. If there's something that you feel that I missed, or if you have a question or a comment, you can find all my information in the bio. You can also leave a comment below. I do answer those personally, so feel free to leave a comment below. I will check it out myself and get in contact to you. And thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again real soon.